So the need for supercomputing has never been greater, but before today, the best you could do was either purchase a supercomputer, and that meant you had to make a massive commitment on both CapEx and the overhead associated with running a supercomputer. Or realistically, the only other option was to apply to one of the university-driven supercomputing centers. They have amazing computers over there, but you had to go through a peer review process. You had to hope that your application was accepted, and then you were subject to things like FOIA requests. These just were not a good fit for many commercial applications. By putting a Cray in the Markley cloud, we provide supercomputing resources in a business-friendly way. So, the value. The abilities of the Eureka, they really are immense. I mean, I've seen the system and it does amazing things, but it can also make a good business sense to use the supercomputer. First of all, using Supercomputing-as-a-Service, again, with the time compression you can see on the supercomputer, it could actually cost less to rent time on a supercomputer than it can the same number of cores in a public cloud. But there's also the ability to change CapEx into OpEx. Instead of spending an enormous amount of money buying something, you only spend the money when and if you need it. Another large benefit, and this one is my personal favorite, is the additional productivity. Ted's going to go into this later in the presentation, but I just want everybody to think about for a minute the increases in just the human productivity of a researcher or a scientist asking a question of any type of computer and then waiting a week for the answer versus asking that question and getting it back the next day, or asking a question and getting it back in minutes versus the next day. The cost of the context switching, of the downtime or doing other apps, it's hard to put a number on that, but it is very, very, very large. And making that go faster has benefits beyond just getting the answer back more quickly. Finally, by removing all the work associated with supporting a supercomputer, we're trying to allow organizations to do what they do best. Let your scientists and researchers deal with the science. Don't worry about, whether you have enough UPS power or if you have 2 power feeds or anything else like that. Just upload your data set to the Markley cloud. When your turn comes on the Eureka, it's right there in the same cage. Run your job and then get your answer back. You go to, a single URL, you run your Spark job, and you're done. What's more is if you get a direct connect to the Markley cloud, you're not even paying for the egress bytes. You're just using the supercomputer as an extension of your on-prem resources. We honestly believe this is a game changer for lots of organizations. The power and flexibility of supercomputing as a service is going to change the way some companies do business. I think that's probably more than anyone wanted to hear about the business side, so I'm going to turn it over to Ted, who heads up life sciences over at Cray and who knows a lot more about these applications than I do. So he's going to explain exactly how the Eureka is going to make things better for you. Ted?
Patrick, thank you so much. That was a great introduction to Markley and what you guys are doing, and I'll tell you and the rest of the participants here kind of what we are doing with Eureka GX. Now, Eureka GX, as Patrick alluded to, is a special kind of architecture, and it was really designed from the ground up to be a machine that you can use for all kinds of different applications in analytics in big data. And so what I've shown on this slide here is just a generic big data workflow, and I'm sure that the vast majority of people on the call here are exceedingly familiar with this kind of workflow. It changes a little bit from organization to organization, but at a high level, I think this is pretty clear. You can go into and out of this workflow kind of anywhere you'd like to, but most of the time it's that out of part where it looks like a big orange decisions dot that we're interested in. And you can spend a lot of time upstream and acquire and cleaning and organizing, and some of the other things can take some time as well. The point would be that we have designed Eureka GX to be a machine that helps people get through this kind of high-level workflow as fast as possible.